Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, and turn on the post notifications. We coming with the best content out here. So make sure to stay tuned.
Hey everybody, this is Summer in SoCal, and it's all about ride-ups and meetups with the mini bike world. We've got 2 parts in store for you. Part 1, 605 mini bikes coming up. Part 2, Rowdy Minibikes. It's all live on Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. This is season 8, episode, probably 4. This is our 2-part. This is the second part of our 2-part summer meetup and racing SoCal special, I guess. I'm here with our co-host today, the infamous DaeDae. What's happening, DaeDae?
What's going on, y'all? Love
man.
to see y'all, man.
Good to see you too. I've said this before. I continue to admire the way that you keep pushing the envelope with the videos and the social media stuff out there. Is it? Do you feel like you're getting to that next level now? Can you look back and see? I feel something. I see things now that give you that feel that you're headed in the right direction.
I feel it. I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, okay.
It's I always wake up and say, how can I do something better than what I did yesterday, last week, last month, last year? Like, I'm trying to always improve. So I don't really look at it as I came far. I got to keep pushing.
Okay.
I
love that.
Keep pushing.
Yeah. So you've been pushing a lot recently.
Oh, man.
What's like June's gone, right? It's going to be July 4th. So as you look into your calendar,
right,
what's on tap like July with DaeDae?
For one, GT's picnic, which is July 1st, they're hosting. So that I'm actually going to be in Vegas for the 4th of July. Then
what's happening in Vegas?
Nothing, just going out there and just making videos.
Oh, cool. Who's going?
Just me.
Really?
Yeah.
You prefer going solo?
Yeah. Hey man, look, I am with everything. Somebody call me up and say, "Hey, come out here." Oh, I'm coming.
Gotcha.
Most
so you love
definitely
the fact that you can just on the fly.
I just pick up and go. I don't wait for nobody. I'm going with or without you.
Yeah. Although it's always nice to also have a wingman.
It is.
I've often found that even when I do have a dependable wingman, I still gotta fly solo. I can't be tethered at all.
Right.
Not that's a bad thing, but I can't be restricted because I still feel that there's places I too need to go to that I don't even know how to get there yet.
Right.
So I can't have anybody else with me. We're alike in that way. Yeah.
Great minds think alike, man.
Well, it's also you gotta show the tits too. At some point, you've got to have some results if you're going to take that path,
right,
which is independence. You seem to have done that. What is it about these current rides, whether it's the Aussie ride outs? We were talking to the 605 guys. We're also going to be bringing on our friends over at Rowdy Minibikes in a second too. But what is it about the scene now that you see as pluses? And are there things that are happening now with some of these ride outs that you start to still have some concerns about?
Nah, not really. Honestly, I feel like everybody in the scene is growing to want to try to make it mainstream. Like that's for me, that's my goal to make it mainstream. I want to see us with NHRA next to the nitro bikes and next to the top fuel cars and all that. I feel like we deserve a spot, but we have to show them that we deserve a spot in order to make it to that point.
Sure, to get the respect.
It's huge companies out here that's making, huge progress, whether they're small, whether they're big, whether they're up north, on the East Coast, down south, all over the place. So I feel like the more we come together, the bigger we can make it, and the easier it is for people to accept us.
Yeah, well, when you take a look at this mini bike hobby, back before you were born, there were hundreds, literally, of manufacturers of mini bikes and go-karts. With liability and all, I guess, this interest with people suing each other for everything and anything, it diminished. There's a handful of guys now that are still doing it. And we need to embrace those players that are still in the game, because we have to be connected together before we're going to get accepted by some of those other bigger organizations that you mentioned, whether it's NHRA, IHRA, or even other events and event activities that take place where we can be showcased. I do think, though, that there is an uptick. I see the reaction of people's faces when they see mini bikes. I've seen the number of likes and comments on some of the posts when these guys are posting the ride out videos. Right. There's definitely a curiosity. There's definitely a big smile factor. There seems to be an increased
attraction
by young folks too, which I think is helpful for all of us. Bringing in, we're talking to the 605 guys about how they're bringing in some of their younger, whether it's their sons or their nephews or their cousins. Right. I think that part, that youth attraction in mini bikes and in go-karting is also a positive for us as we try to take what could have been a negative light into more of a positive. Right. And that's why I asked you about your feeling about the current rideouts, because to me, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool people, a lot of cool fun times. Everybody's laughing. But there's also that element where you do see accidents. You do see folks challenging the cops. I don't see a lot of it in SoCal. We talked about how there seems to be some harmony there. Right. I have seen some stuff online with folks acting the fool, particularly on the 4x4s and the UTVs, riding through the streets, running people over. So that stigma, unfortunately, is what gets all the play. Right. You don't get the good stuff. It's just hard. Get the bad play.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, when you look at, a lot of times when they see us in the streets, they're just looking at us as just people just up to no good. Honestly, like the last ride-out, which was for TAFJ, as soon as they left the gas station, the police followed them all the way. And it's like, for us, we're doing it in remembrance of someone that we lost. It hurts. This is our way. We cope with things. We want to ride. We want to enjoy. We just want to smile and have a good time. That's it.
Yep.
That's all it is, honestly.
Well, and I think that, too, is the reason why the gatherings become so more a part of it, too. It's not just ride outs. It's like, hey, meet over here and we're going to hang out for the day. We're going to barbecue. We're going to get together. Sure, there's going to be a chance to ride. But it's really, I think the spirit of all this is just us guys getting together with our bikes, whether we're riding them or just hanging out. Right. It's all good, and it seems to be a growing community, and I love that. And I guess with that said, let's take a moment and bring in our guest for the second portion of the podcast tonight. It's our friends over at Rowdy Minibikes. Rowdy J, welcome to the podcast, right, brother.
Joe. Thank you for having me again, man. Hey, what's up, DaeDae?
So how did you two guys first meet? You remember?
I met DaeDae on Manville. I used to watch his YouTube videos and stuff, but I wasn't really into the mini bike scene yet, or the racing scene. And I would watch his videos, and when I would see him out there recording and all that, I would go up to him, say what's up, see him out there racing as well. And that's how we met. It's probably been like 2 years ago. Yeah, so.
Nice. And how do you remember meeting our boy from Rowdy?
It's funny because you would just see me walking up the race spots just with a huge smile, just with this big camera, just, what's up, everybody? Like, what's going on? I'd just be mean to everybody, so.
Always with a phone out.
Yeah.
You never know where you're going to catch.
So I got the camera, the phone. You never know when I'm going to catch you on camera, and I will post you.
Well, and here's proof that all your efforts resonated. You've got a guy that watched the videos. You got a guy that's into it. You got a guy that's kind of aware of you. So, Jay, how long have you been in this game?
I've been pushing on 3 years now.
What got you started into it?
Well, when I was younger, I used to ride little pocket bikes and stuff,
Sure.
and the cops wouldn't tolerate it at all. So my parents saw that as like, you got to stop riding them because it's real dangerous, and they don't want you on them, you know. And then I came from the street racing scene, and I was in that for about like 5 years and stuff. But with that, there's a lot of trouble and there's a lot of money involved. So you get pulled over, you get a state ref, you get your car taken away, you got to get it out of the tow yard. There's a lot more involved with that.
A lot more at risk.
Yeah. And with the minibike scene, yeah, the cops don't like us and stuff, but for the most part, they leave us alone, you know? And there's not as much risk with the law, you know? So that's why I got more into that as well, you know? So...
What bike did you start off with? Do you remember?
So I started off on a stock bike that was going like 45, 46. The same weekend that I got it, I went to Mansfield, you know, like just see where I'm at. And
guys are going 140.
the next day I bought another bike because it was just way too slow. It was a 5-inch bubble back with chrome bars off a Big Belly. It had like a 310 cam.
Nice.
Stock head, you know, it was faster than my stock one. So my stock one I sold right away. But
shout out to Big Belly. We've all had a Big Belly story.
George, man.
Yep. George built, in fact, if you go back on one of the old Joe's Minibike Reunion podcasts, we actually had an episode where they built that Predator up for me. I think I have it in a Temecula Bob bike. Maybe a 20 horsepower.
I know which one.
Predator.
I've seen it, yeah. I've seen it, yeah.
Very dependable.
Yeah.
Big Belly, he was doing it. He was talking to people at the same time.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he's pulls the throttle, thing's running like, a raped ape, and he
Yeah.
just does it
That's
in
how
his
you
sleep.
do it. Yeah.
A lot of those guys out there, and he's a good example. You don't see him pounding his chest on videos, telling the world he's the best. He's, it just,
There's no need.
yeah, man. He just, and I love that. Daryl's another example of that. If you ever wanted to have a fucking ego, it would be if you were Daryl.
One of
You had
those
that
guys,
talent.
Oh my gosh, this
You
is
know?
his favorite post.
Yes, that's it, right?
Everyone knows that.
Yeah, and very humble. And I remember, this Hall of Fame thing that we do. It's like, who am I to come up with a Hall of Fame? And then I said, well, fuck, why not?
Somebody
Yeah,
had to do it.
someone's got to do it, yeah.
I stole the idea, again, like I do in many instances, from my automotive experience. And the SEMA had a Hall of Fame. And NHRA had a Hall of Fame.
Right.
And shit, I'm into boxing and UFC. There's Hall of Fames for anything. It's like, yeah, we're going to have a Hall of Fame for mini bikes.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot
whoever wanted to challenge me about why I thought I could start it is because I say, why not?
Nobody else is doing it.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't just put friends in there.
All right.
Granted, a lot of the folks in the Hall of Fame are California based because I know them. I'm not as familiar with guys who may be moving the needle like in Texas or New York or Florida. But honestly, I don't think they move the needle like we do here in California.
Not on the West Coast. Not at all.
So yeah, it's going to be littered with folks that are
From
rooted
here,
on
yeah.
the West Coast, the Hall of Fame. But look, this thing is growing.
That's more motivation for them to start, start what we got going on here.
Let's hope so. But I guess the spirit of all of it is that to recognize those guys again who do this for no limelight or fanfare. They do this because it gives them satisfaction and it gives them an enjoyable hobby. Many of them we've had on the podcast. If those of you who are maybe listening have a suggestion about somebody that you'd like to maybe have appear as a guest on the podcast, I'm always open. We love the format where you can be in studio. We have had guests that, depending on logistical challenges, have called in. I prefer the face-to-face. I think they make for better podcasts themselves. You guys get to know them a little bit better.
Yeah.
But the fact is that we're continuing to try to develop different ways of bringing you the podcast. We've had different studios before. We've had bikes. We've had build-ups. Emmanuel and I will continue to try different ways of setting up the podcast. And we also may be, I'm hopeful, although I haven't shared it with you yet, E, I'd like to shoot a live podcast, or not a live podcast. I'd like to tape a podcast from Fastlane Racing.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, and
the shop.
do that. And I think we're talking to Lionel about maybe doing that and maybe having on Antonio.
Woody,
Yeah.
my guy.
So talk a little bit about some of his recent activities. Didn't he break a record or something?
I think Woody broke a record out in Texas. Dylan first passed on the track. Now, we started the bike up when we first got to Texas, but we didn't make any passes on it. We started up, make sure it's good. Cool, we put it up. Got to the track, first pass of the day. Dylan did a 794 in the 8th mile at 90 miles per hour.
That's fast.
Now, when we were starting to when we was getting in line for them to pull cars for the bikes, we were like, hey, we just want to do test hits. We have no clue what's going on. We just want to get on the bike and go. And they're like, all right, for the light, I guess you got to have like a time average.
Sure.
And they're like, all right, we're going to put you 13, 15 seconds. And we're like, damn, okay, that's kind of slow. Like, we get it, they're mini bikes, but they're not that slow.
It's like surprise,
Then-
surprise.
Yeah, most definitely. And when Dylan made that pass, everybody was just like, oh. We like, yeah, son.
Damn.
Yeah, like that. That's how we do it.
Yeah, I was watching or listening. I guess you guys had a chance to go to the drag race, but then it started to rain.
Right. Oh, man. Texas
What a
weather
tease.
is crazy.
I know,
It was
man.
very humid. Then it started raining at one point, and they tried to dry the track up for us, which they did. So, I mean, that's just what comes with this life.
Yeah,
It
well,
is
that
what it
weather out
is.
there too. We get we know we can pick a Saturday 5 weeks from now.
Yeah.
We know it's not going to be raining, and we can plan on it. You'd be 99%
Yeah.
sure. These poor guys in Texas and Florida and the East Coast,
Not out there.
they get a handful of good Saturday
Unpredictable,
weekends,
yeah.
and it rains a half of them.
Yep.
So we reach out to them. It's nice to be out here in California. And with that said, we're here in California with one of the more active mini bike clubs out there, Rowdy Minibikes. What do you guys got on tap for the schedule, Jay? You know,
This
we're in-
summer?
yeah.
I'm thinking about planning a ride out this July coming up, the end of July. But there's so many ride outs coming up. I don't want to interfere with anyone. You know?
Sure.
And
Are you talking about like some of the state to state upcoming
yeah,
rides as
state
well?
to state, 605's having one as well. I prefer to go to the ride outs than host one. You know,
Tell me
because there's a lot involved that people don't see. You got to get all the groups together. You got to find a parking spot. You got to deal with everyone in your ear DMing you. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, you know. So I prefer going to them, but I do want to host one as well. But you know, it just takes time. And
I hear you, brother.
Yeah.
Today's a good example.
Yeah.
Today's a good
Today I
example.
woke up thinking, hey, we're already set. We've got DaeDae on his way up. We've got Joe booked. I had a chance to confirm some things with Emmanuel. 12 o'clock, everything just changes.
yeah, yeah. That's
Until
all it
I
is.
get here, I'm in the shower. You guys are trying to get in.
Yeah,
Emmanuel calls me. He's going to be late. He thought he was
Yeah.
going to be here at 4. Now he's at 5. I took a nap. I would have. It's like fuck. I'd just rather stay sleeping
Yeah.
because But we have to. At some point, somebody's got to say, "Hey, I'll do it.
yeah.
Right.
I'll organize the ride. I'll start
Yeah.
the podcast. I'll do the videos. You know, we all have to like,
Play
Step
our
up.
part.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's sure nice to not. Like I love just to show up at someone's
Yeah.
event instead of running.
Yeah.
I like to
Yeah.
just show up with my bike
Yeah.
instead of heading it up. I like to show up without having to take all the video. It's nice to just
It's
be one of the
fun.
guys once in a while.
Yeah.
yeah,
But honestly, some of us are built to just do a little bit more.
yeah.
We got to do it.
You know, and
Yeah.
you know, embrace it while you can.
Yeah.
What do you find are continue to be some of the biggest challenges amongst the folks that join us on the rides? Is it still just that those one or two personalities that continue to make things a struggle for everybody else, or do you feel that people are now starting to realize that like acting the fool isn't really the best way to act when you're out on the ride? That you
Yeah,
got, you know,
yeah. Just keeping it like making sure that it's fun for everyone and everyone has a good time, you know, and make sure that when you're riding, when you break down, you don't stop in the middle of a big group, you know, because that could cause a really big accident. This past ride out, I saw 2 accidents, you know, and just being aware and having your helmet and being ready. That's what makes a ride out fun when it's successful. When you have accidents, you kind of like think about it a little bit more, you know, because there's a lot of danger involved, you know.
when I produced the drag races, we had an organization called NMCA. It was like the junior leagues for NHRA.
Yeah.
And we would lose somebody every year. It just
That
happens
sounds
in
hard.
drag racing.
Yeah.
Right.
And as a promoter, you always felt the responsibility that it was your business acumen, it was the sponsorships, it was the promotion, it was getting everybody to come to watch this.
Right.
That created an interest for this guy to come and race his car, and then he lost his life. So you always feel if someone's coming to an event or a ride out
Yeah.
that you hosted, that you inherit a certain amount of responsibility.
Right. Big time. Big time.
And you know that's with motorized vehicles, whether it's drag racing cars or mini bikes.
Yeah.
Let's face it, guys. Some nasty shit can happen.
Yeah.
So I recognize and admire the fact that you take the initiative to be responsible, as some of us do, And with that said, for those of you who prefer not to take that responsibility on, be aware of the fact that when guys step up to coordinate a ride or to create an activity or an event, that they put a lot out that they risk for your enjoyment. And again, we're pretty fortunate that I really have yet to say that I met a jerk or a real asshole out and about in the mini bike world. I must admit that I've had many great experiences.
Yeah.
But stuff's going to happen, especially if it's, if it's all day Saturday and it's all day Sunday. It's at some point shit happens, right?
Yeah, there's a lot involved.
Yeah, so be mindful of that too. It's summer. We want everybody to ride. We want you to be safe. Talk about some of the things else. We talked about safety where we want folks to show up definitely helmeted up. In fact, I see some of them where they don't want you to show up unless you've got helmets anymore.
Yeah, nah, facts. It's a big pressure on that because we ask everybody to respect people's wishes. If I'm hosting a ride out, I would expect you to respect my wishes so you can make it home to your family. You get me? When we host things, we want everybody to come as they left. We don't want you to come back looking like me.
Yep.
It's a fucked up place to be right now.
I'm telling you, man.
It's not fun at all.
Look, anybody who's fallen down on one of those mini bikes. In fact, we all joke about the fact, the guy who gets on the mini bike for the first time and he thinks, oh, cute little mini bike.
Yeah.
What's he do?
It's a joke.
He squeezes that throttle, that mini bike comes out, he's on his ass.
Throttle into the wall.
He's got 3 stitches on his elbow.
Yeah.
He bit his lip off. And we're all laughing, but these things
It's true.
We used to call them rigid frame death traps.
It's true.
That's what these things will chew you the fuck up. And let's face it now, we've got them where they're going 80, 90 miles an hour.
Easily.
And even the stock ones, you start sticking on an F&B pipe and a couple of stage modifications
they're
on there.
Yeah.
So a couple things. Continue this. This is all great, man. We're all, the hobby's growing. People are riding. People are buying. They're easy to get into.
Right.
You can be in this game with a few $100.
Yeah, if you find a deal,
you could be riding literally that same day. Protect yourself. Learn a little bit about the bike. Make sure the brakes are working. Make sure that the throttle's working. Make sure now everybody's riding at night. Yeah. Buy clip-on lights.
Make sure you got lights.
Yeah.
When your buddy continues to show up stoned with flip-flops, no helmet, dude, you owe it to him to fucking pause him and get a helmet on him and tell him he's a fool with those fucking flip-flops on and get on some sneakers.
Do something.
When your guy shows up, look, we all do it. I do. I like to smoke a little joint. I like to have a little bit of a beer. I've seen guys show up on Saturday nights with bottles of Jack Daniels in the backpacks. Dude, so check this out. Here's my feeling. It's like at some point, you got to check yourself.
It's a pause button.
You got to check yourself. I rode with a guy who I love, who had a welded on platform on the back of his bike with a locked cabinet with a dab rig.
Holy shit.
That's an upgrade.
So you have to realize we're on 2-wheel fucking bikes, guys. We can't be guzzling Jack Daniels and doing dab hits.
Yeah.
Save it for when you're at the stop or when you get home, right? Continue to have a good time. Protect yourself. Stay connected. Check DaeDae out on YouTube. Check him out on his Instagram. Check out our friends over at Rowdy Minibikes on their Instagram pages. Be a part of these ride outs. If you don't have a bike, hook us up. We'll connect you with GTS. If you need some parts or repairs, we'll hook you up. We've got Fast Lane Racing. We've got Prestige. If you're, I got an email from a guy today who just bought a Grom. He just bought a Honda Grom. He wants to know where he can ride it. Like, I hooked him up with the Honda Grom lifestyle guys. He's going to be riding with the Honda Grom lifestyle guys on Friday.
Wicked.
Dude's life's going to fucking change. He's going to have a great time. Okay.
He's going to get addicted.
So there's too much fun to be had for us to not take part in. Earlier, we had the 605 guys with us. And, it's like, what do we want out of this? We just want to get together. We want to show up. We want to have fun. Pretty easy request. Not that hard of a deal to make happen. A lot of folks anxious to help you out. So no matter what your role is, a newbie, a veteran, maybe you were in the game and you took a pause, which people do, and you want to get back in. A lot of guys ask me about crossing over to. It's funny, the mini moto guys are all interested in the Polestar rigid frame bikes, and all the rigid frame
Wanna
bikes
go to the
want to
Grom
get a Grom.
scene. Yeah.
It's so I'm starting to see a little bit of that collaboration. And I must say, when I first started the mini bike show, it was not designed for the mini moto guys. It was designed for the Polestar guys, because that's where my passion comes from. When I started to see the transformation and the attendance when the mini moto guys would show up, like when the Grom guys would show up, it'd be like a swarm of bees, and you can hear them and you can feel it. And they were all such cool guys. So I love this collaboration where the Polestar guys are now hooking up with the mini moto guys. And again, we're going to be celebrating all of this at the upcoming Joe's Minibike Reunion, October 14th at CV Park. Maybe a stone's throw from where we're filming this podcast right now. We're in Montrose, California. La Crescenta is just a block or two away.
Down the street.
A lot of good things happening, a lot of good giveaways planned. I was chatting with some of the guys earlier. We're going to come up with a different program for giveaways and for judging. We're going to continue to give away some great products. We're going to try to reduce the number of awards because it takes too much friggin' time. I'm also thinking about doing another single day event.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's going to be a swap meet or just a get together, but I'm on the verge of an announcement on doing something there, and also a collaboration on a bike.
Or maybe a ride out.
Yeah. So I'm tending to leave the ride outs in the hands of the guys that do those well.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. They're the Ozzies of the world, the Joes from state to state, guys like yourself. I'm gonna let you guys do that. What I'd like to do is just be able to, like you said, just
Show
jump
up.
in, just show up a little bit.
1 to 10.
What else, Rowdy? Any comments or any thoughts that you'd like to make?
Yeah, if you're gonna get a mini bike, look, just respect it. Respect the bike. Try to be as responsible as possible, because I've seen it all. I've seen falls, broken bones, people pass away. I've seen a lot, and I just want everyone to be safe and make it home safe to your family, because this is a lot of fun, but it could also be a very bad situation as well.
Sure.
So I just want everyone to be responsible and have fun. That's all it is.
And how could folks? What's the best way to get in touch with the guys?
Through
over at
Instagram, Rowdy Minibikes. There's a lot of DMs. I'm sorry if I don't reply to everyone, but I only have one more person helping me with the account. But I try to get back to everyone.
Nice. Any shout outs? Anybody that as you've kind of progressed with Rowdy along the way, there may be a person or two that's really kind of helped out or is there for you when you need it. Is there anybody special that you'd like to recognize?
All the members from my crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all the active people, 605, Street Fiends, Gang, GS, them, DaeDae, everyone that's showing the world what we're about, and showing the brotherhood that it is, and showing how much fun we can actually have, And that's the best thing for me, is that I'm right here at the very beginning, because it feels like it's at an adolescent stage, Right. And we're just watching it grow, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's real exciting. Good. And shout out to Ozzy. He's the one that brought me here. He the one that introduced me to you. So, all those guys, I appreciate them.
Yeah, great community. Yeah. Thank you again for the hustle to get over here today, folks. We're here with our second portion of the summer ride out special, Joe's Minibike Reunion. I'm here with our co-host DaeDae. We've got some good podcasts planned, as well as some remote sites that we're going to be filming from. I've got some updates that are still in the works with regard to the upcoming Joe's Minibike Reunion. To see past editions of the podcast, you can check us out on YouTube. There's a Joe's Minibike Reunion Facebook page, Instagram page as well. By now, I'm sure you've probably found a way to get a hold of us. If you have any questions or comments, obviously we're curious about that. We'd love to see you all at the upcoming Joe's Minibike Reunion. DaeDae, any parting shots on your end?
Man, I want to say a huge shout out to LAX, OG and Miro. OG is a young kid that's been putting it down for a minute. So shout out to him, shout out to Miro. OG was most wanted, but he migrated to LAX. So it's good to see everybody still getting along after something like that. And, shout out to everybody in the tournaments that's coming up, man. Joe, it's been insane.
I got to get out.
It's been insane.
It's a lot of fast guys.
Yeah. I'm afraid about getting hooked. I started going out on those Friday night rides, and I went out and rode every Friday night. My wife's just like shaking her head. If I get to Mansville on Sundays and I start to get that, I'll be out on Sundays. Dude, the
That's
last thing you guys need is an old white dude fucking hanging around Mansfield on Sunday afternoon. But I'm going to get down there and check it out. I loved it. I remember me and Eva Ed went out there a couple times and seeing everybody. Many of them came to the event. I knew many of them by face. It was good to get out there. I also know that when I'm out there and I see those bikes going up and down, that I want to do it.
Nah, you can't do that, Joe.
So
you just gotta attend, Joe. You just gotta be there.
Yeah, so I would like to go, and I would look at some point. You haven't lived until you've seen what goes on over there. And
that's the mini bike world. There's two worlds in the mini bike scene. It's the racing scene and the ride out scene.
Right.
They're two completely different worlds, but a lot of people from this side come on this side, and a lot of people from this side go on that side, and that's what's lovely about it.
I'm liking the taste of both.
Yeah.
I also felt like, look, I'm not as good as those racers, so I definitely, I'm not going to be in motion on Mansville. I can ride on the ride outs.
Yeah.
I'm at a point now where I've ridden long enough. My wild side is tame. I'll hang out with one rider that I know. Like I hung around with Daryl.
Oh man,
because I
he still rides,
and I feel safe around him, and I know when I break down, he's going to help me. But there's so many guys just flying by. Yeah. There's so many guys that I don't know. And even on the Friday night rides now, it's like I gotta ride next to the guys that I'm comfortable with. At this point, I turned into a little bit of a pussy as I gotten older. Before I wouldn't give a shit.
Just being responsible.
Yeah, you got it. I'm just being responsible, right? Who would ever hear me say that? All right, folks. Once again, thanks. This has been a good one. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I have. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. Thanks for being a part of it. I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors: Go Power Sports, Studs Racing, Go Karts USA, and our friends over at Dingo Motor, wherever you go. Shout out to Sam and Jocelyn and Val and Joel and all those guys out there at Dingo Moto USA. Lots to come. We'll see you next time, everybody. Peace.
We're
outside.
Joe's Minibike Show.